Jamaica has also become the first country in the region to have implemented election campaign financing laws, a significant step towards strengthening the electoral process, which will have significant implications for the upcoming elections. With the expectation that it will help reduce the perception of corruption, we're now joined in studio by LeFranc Thompson, Registrar of Political Parties, Electoral Office of Jamaica, to discuss the new ECJ campaign finance reforms regulations. Thank you for your time and good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
I'm looking at all this and I've read it as I want to. And the one thing that stands out to me as a matter of curiosity is instead of a matter of campaign reform in of itself, why not simply do away with campaign finance from outside individuals, period, and simply have it be a matter of funded by the state?
Campaign financing, it entails an aspect of private funding to candidates and political parties, wherein they may source contributions from outside of themselves, the entities. As well, the law allows for some degree of state funding to be offered to candidates and political parties, in that from the consolidated fund or the estimates of expenditure, usually there is an amount which is reserved for the reimbursement of election expenses which candidates may incur during an election. The idea is that state funding towards election is not usually recommended as a wholesale practice, in that you want to allow persons to source from permissible contributors toward public office that they seek to occupy. And state funding really is reserved for government planning, policy, and...
No, I understand that concept in and of itself, but just to do away with the perception, if not the reality, of undue influence from outside.
From persons who fund elections.
Why not just go with a straight state funding? Each candidate gets X amount of dollars, you get X amount of time on public airwaves, and have it be done that way?
Well, perhaps that is something to be examined for the future. But currently the law allows that candidates and political parties may source private funding. And also there is reserve within the estimates of expenditure to accommodate reimbursement of election expenses.
Right. Well, where do we stand on adherence to campaign finance within the parties?
Well, we can speak of the recent Portland Eastern by-elections, which were the first test of the election campaign financing regulations. Both political parties can be reported as being compliant with what the law requires. They submitted their returns on time, and the commission was able to examine these submissions and to see that aspects such as supporting details and the different disclosures which are required in law have been submitted to the office.
Where do we stand on the matter of in-kind contributions?
Contributions in kind are also counted as donations, and once they are of value $10,000 or more, up to $249,000, they are supposed to be recorded in terms of invoices, bills, or receipts that denote what service was provided to the political party or candidate. Above $249,000, we go into the realm of what is a contribution. $250,000 or more constitutes a contribution that must be declared by the contributor and disclosed within the return of election expenses by the candidate and also the campaign period expenditure report of political parties. These contributions, whilst being declared by the contributor, must also be accompanied by receipts for making of these contributions from the political party or candidate, and this too is part of the examination by the commission to see that contributions are declared and also the requisite receipts are issued by the political parties and candidates.
So here's an hypothetical. Say I'm a graphic artist.
Yes.
I decide to make a poster for a candidate. On the open market, this would cost $15,000. I bill it at $5,000. because now we're looking at, there's a lot of nebulous intricacies involved in this. Because if I'm driving you from point A to point B, if it's a private car and I hire, say, a limousine, it's going to cost me X.
And
If I just go by regular bus, it's going to cost me Y. If I have a taxi,
so the suggestion there is that persons may manipulate
Yes.
costs and declarations. Indeed, we perceive that that is the case, that is a possibility. But we can only look at what ought to be, and we recommend that persons are truthful in their declarations, and anything that is of market value, 10,000 or more, ought to be reflected in your disclosures to the Commission. It is that these declarations will be subject to auditing and investigation by the Commission, and anyone who is found to have made a false declaration or has not disclosed disclose contributions as is required under the law, then they are subject to certain penalties and fines that are listed in the law. For non-disclosure, they stand to be fined up to $1 million or face a term of imprisonment for 12 months. Or if there is a case of false declaration, the applicable fine there is up to $3 million and or
well, what are the
imprisonment for 12
mechanisms
months.
do we currently have in place to ensure adherence to the law?
The Commission will seek to work with the series of auditors and investigators who will be assigned to the organization to investigate any forms of non-compliance or breaches of the law. Also, we have capacity, the ability to call upon other anti-corruption agencies, and we can think of the Integrity Commission, if I might mention them. We can verify contracts being listed with the National Contracts Commission, and these are the mechanisms for verifying or investigating, querying submissions which are sent into the office in order to declare parties and candidates compliant with the law.
Oh, I think this is a conversation we need to continue at a later date on this program. But thank you very much for your time, Ms. Thompson.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Our coverage continues after this break with the business segment.